Welcome to Archetypes of the East. Today, we're looking at Hexagram 39, Obstruction, Limping. A time of frequent obstacles and general difficulty, the seeker limps along hostile terrain. Progress is arduous or impossible, making this a poor season for large initiatives or even brute force. The Oracle advises recognizing one's limitations and pausing one's path, retreat, or reassessing one's trajectory. It's important to seek guidance from the right individuals, wise counsel, or trusted friends when faced with difficulty. Be flexible and choose to use a strategic withdrawal when it's the best course of action. Pushing forward through the difficulty leads to misfortune. Be patient and endure this season without losing sight of what truly matters, as this too can be overcome. The principle of this hexagram represents the archetype of the impasse. In the I Ching, this hexagram is often translated as limping. A limp is a signal from the body to slow down and change your gait. If you try to run on a broken ankle, you destroy the leg entirely. Similarly, if you try to force a project or a relationship right now, you will only break yourself against the mountain that you're facing. The Oracle famously says, "The southwest furthers, the northeast does not further." Northeast is the direction of the mountain, the path of the solitary uphill struggle. The southwest is the direction of the flatlands and the prairies, the path of allies and of ease. The lesson is, stop trying to be a hero alone. Go where the terrain is easier and the people are supportive. Now is a time for turning inward in order to resolve the outward world. In career, this is the strategic pivot. If the market is closed or a boss is blocking you, stop pushing. Use this time to refine your skills or build a network of mentors, the great man mentioned in a few of the lines. In relationships, this is recognizing the dead end. Stop trying to fix someone who doesn't want to change. Withdraw to the southwest to find your strength once again. The key or energy of this hexagram is heavy, cold, and still. The atmosphere of hexagram 39 is stagnant. It feels like being snowed in. There's a sense of being trapped, but also a hidden opportunity for deep reflection. The superior person uses this obstruction to look within and to cultivate their character. The mountain is stopped, so you must also stop too. The image of hexagram 39 states, water over mountain, water on the mountain, the image of obstruction. The superior one turns their attention to themselves to mold their character. The strategy of this image is that character is the key to overcoming the obstruction. Don't waste energy complaining about the mountain that sits before you. The mountain doesn't care. If the outer world is blocked, the inner world is open. Work on your internal structure, so that way, when the ice melts, you're ready to sprint once the obstruction is passed. The judgment of hexagram 39 states, obstruction, the way of humble teamwork furthers, while the way of mandatory stillness and silent stasis does not further. It is good to see a great person for assistance, and perseverance in the face of difficulty furthers. This is about choosing the path of least resistance. In the I Ching, the northeast is the home of the mountain, stillness and solitude, while the southwest is the home of the earth, receptivity and community. This is the strategy of the accessible plane. It teaches that when life becomes a mountain, the superior person stops climbing and starts connecting. We're often taught that grinding and pushing through is the only way to succeed. The Oracle here disagrees. Pushing against an impassable mountain isn't strength, it's a waste of energy. If your current path is a steep, lonely trail, the northeast is telling you to stop. You're being steered away from unseen trouble. Just like the namesake of this hexagram, when you're limping, you need a crutch or a guide. Seeking a mentor or wise counsel isn't a sign of weakness. It is a tactical maneuver. A great person that's described in the judgment provides an aerial view that you lose when you're stuck in the thicket of the mountain. In the realm of career, goals, and ambition, when efforts are repeatedly blocked, stop pushing forward alone. Seek fresh perspectives and adapt your approach rather than persisting with the same method. Sometimes stepping back is the most effective way to progress. In the realm of relationships and social flow, the point of emotional gridlock is when communication meets a dead end. When you can't move forward with an individual, don't force the conversation. If you're stuck in a social situation, turn your attention away from the obstacle to yourself. Work on internal flaws to see where you can improve the situation on your own end to meet them halfway. Sometimes when you work to change your internal state, the external begins to move in conjunction. This is the hexagram of strategic withdrawal. It's the realization that sometimes the best way to get to the top of the mountain is to walk around it. The I Ching says, "You are in a season of obstruction. Brute force is your enemy right now. Pivot to the southwest. Look for teamwork. Look for easy wins. And most importantly, look for a mentor. If the door is locked, stop kicking it. Walk down the hall and find someone with the key." A changing line 1. Going forward leads to obstructions. Returning to regroup is praiseworthy. Line 1 is the base of the inner trigram of mountain. You're standing at the foot of the impasse or the obstruction. Your ego wants to overturn the obstacle, but your wisdom sees that the terrain is currently impassable. In the original translations of the oracle, going means advancing blindly into a conflict or task. Coming means returning to your center, your home, or your team. When you encounter the first sign of a limp, obstruction, the most effective move is to step back. By waiting, you're not doing nothing. You're allowing the obstacle to reveal its own cracks and weaknesses. The way to solve the obstacle isn't with brute force tactics. If you charge into a mountain, you're only going to get a headache. If you wait and observe, you find the precise strike in the right spot. The praise mentioned here is for your restraint. In a world that demands constant hustle, the person who knows when to stop is the one who eventually wins. In career, this is the project that starts with a series of red flags. Don't push through to save face. Withdraw the proposal, fix the flaws, and wait for a better market. In relationships, if an argument is going in circles, coming here means ending the conversation before it turns toxic. Withdraw now so you can strike later. This is the line of analyzing the friction. It's the realization that if a door doesn't open, it might be locked for a reason. The I Ching says, don't mistake movement for progress. Walking into a wall isn't an achievement. The universe is actually applauding your decision to stop and regroup. Use this mandatory stillness to sharpen your tools. You're not quitting, you're recalibrating. A changing line 2. The servant of higher authority is in the midst of obstruction one after another, which is not their own matter or their own fault. Line 2 is talking about the integrity of the grind. Line 2 is the central balanced position of the inner trigram of mountain. Unlike line 1, where you can walk away, line 2 represents a situation where you are bound by responsibility. You are the servant to a higher authority. This could be a boss, a family duty, or your own moral code. This is the line of, it may not be your fault, but it is officially your problem. This is one of the most validating lines of the I Ching, despite what it says and implies. It acknowledges that you are in a mess caused by others, which could have been bad leadership, external market shifts, or family drama. The oracle removes the blame from your shoulders. You're not culpable. However, because you are a person of higher cause or higher standing, you cannot simply quit. You must limp through the obstacles because the stability of the kingdom, which could be your group, your family, or your endeavor, depends on you. Know and understand that this personal suffering is for a greater cause. In this line, the obstruction is the gym for your soul. You're not just solving a problem, you're becoming the type of person who can hold the line when everyone else panics. The reward for line 2 isn't necessarily a win yet. It is a development of an unshakable character. In career, this is being the person who fixes a failing project that someone else botched. You do it because it's the right thing for the company or for your workspace. In relationships, this is supporting someone through a crisis that they caused themselves. You're not the victim here. You're a volunteer for a higher standard. This is the line of extreme ownership. It's the realization that while you aren't responsible for the cause of the obstacle, you are responsible for the response. The I Ching says, the road is rocky and the mountain is high, but you've been chosen for this climb because you are the only one who won't turn back. Don't waste energy looking for someone to blame. Just keep your head down and do the work. Your reputation is being forged through this fire. A changing line 3. Going forth leads to obstructions. One contemplates returning back, but continuously goes forth down the same obstructive path to encounter the same problem again and again. Line 3 is the transition point between the inner trigram of mountain and the outer trigram of water. You're at the edge of the abyss. The oracle sees you contemplating a return, yet habitually going forth into the same wall. This is the line of breaking the loop. Don't waste energy. Change direction completely. In line 3, the obstruction here is a teacher. It's telling you that the path that you are on is a structural dead end. If you have encountered the same problem again and again, it is no longer an obstacle, it is a boundary. The oracle praises the return here because it saves you from exhaustion of banging your head against a closed door. The traditional text says, coming leads to a return. This is a return to one's family, inner circle, or some sort of a support. In relationships, this means stopping the endless argument and returning to the basic foundation of why you care for each other in the first place. In career, it means abandoning a failing tactic to return to your core competency. Look at your own current frustration and your own obstacle. Are you trying to solve a problem that has already proven that it won't be solved by your current methods? Stop, turn 180 degrees. The return here that it talks about isn't a retreat, it's a retrieval of your own power. The phrase, insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results, applies to this line. It's the realization that the obstruction is actually a guardrail protecting you from a cliff. The I Ching says, the universe is tired of watching you struggle with the same ghost. Stop trying to win a game that is rigged against you. Pivot towards home, toward your allies, and toward a completely different strategy. The good fortune that is found here is the new direction and not the old one. A changing line 4. Going leads to obstructions, but one returns to form a united alliance. This is about forming a collaboration. Line 4 is the first line of the outer trigram of water. You are no longer just looking at the mountain. You're standing in the middle of a rushing stream. The oracle says, going alone is suicide. However, coming to find allies is salvation. This is the strategy of the force multiplier. Do not face the obstruction alone. In the previous lines, the focus was on your internal character or your personal duty. Line 4 shifts the focus to the network or the group as a whole. The obstruction is now too large for one person's hands. If you arrive or come back, meaning you pause your forward charge and look around you, you'll find like-minded individuals who have been waiting for someone to lead a collective effort against the obstruction. Accept the right assistance. Not all help is good help. In the state of obstruction, there is a temptation to grab onto anyone passing by. The I Ching specifies union, implying a deep values-based partnership. Don't just find a warm body. Find a kindred spirit who has the specific tools that you lack. In career, this is the moment to stop being a solo entrepreneur and to start looking for a co-founder, a partner, or an agency. In relationships, this is seeking community support, friends or professionals who can provide the perspective that you are too close to see. You don't need more effort, you need more hands on the situation. This is the line of scaling through partnership. It's the realization that your personal limit has been reached, and that's okay. The I Ching says, the mountain is too steep for a solo climb. Stop trying to prove how strong you are and start proving how connected you are. A united alliance turns an impossible obstacle into a shared project. The good fortune isn't just solving the problem, but in the strength of the new bonds that you're building with others. A changing line 5. In the midst of the greatest obstructions, friends arrive to help. Line 5 is the ruler of the hexagram, positioned at the very center of the outer water trigram. You are in the deepest point of the abyss, facing the greatest of obstructions. This is the strategy of the signal fire. It teaches that when a person of character struggles openly and honestly, the universe responds with reinforcements. Maintain your virtuous resolve. Powerful allies will arrive. In line 2, you labored for others. In line 4, you sought union. Now, in line 5, the friends arrive not just because you asked, but because they see your worth. These are high-level allies, the great person mentioned in the judgment. They don't come to do the work for you, but to provide the breakthrough that only power can provide. The friends mentioned in this line only arrive if you are still standing. If you give up or you turn to dirty tactics right before they arrive, the rescue mission is aborted. Your virtuous resolve is the beacon that tells the cavalry where to charge. Stay in your position. Help is no longer a possibility, it's a promise. In career, this is the last-minute funding. The senior partner who steps in to defend you, or the unexpected endorsement. In relationships, this is the moment when a community rallies around you in a crisis. Your job is to keep your resolve visible so that those who want to help can find you. This is the line of social capital in action. It's the moment your bank of goodwill pays out. The I Ching says, the obstruction is at its maximum, but so is your support. You have reached the limits of self-reliance, and that is exactly where grace begins. These friends are the manifestation of your own past integrity. Don't let the darkness of the abyss hide the fact that the rescue party is already in sight. A changing line 6. Going leads to obstructions. Returning leads to a great good fortune. It furthers to see the Great One for their mastery and how they found a solution. Line 6 is the highest point in the outer trigram of water. You have survived the mountain and the abyss. But even here, going, pushing forward into a new ego-driven territory is a trap. Returning to the center to help others is where the great good fortune lives. This is the strategy of the master guide, the sage's pivot. Those who have overcome are called to use their expertise to support others. At this stage, your struggle is no longer just about you. You have mastery because you have survived the limp. The Great One mentioned here is both the mentor you still need and the mentor that you have become. By turning back to help those still stuck at line 2 or 3, you transmute your past suffering into a treasure that can liberate others. After a long struggle, there is a temptation to conquer something new just to prove that you can. The Oracle says, don't. The great good fortune isn't found in a new conquest. It is found in the return. If you try to push further into the unknown without consolidating your wisdom, you'll find yourself limping all over again. In career, this is the moment to transition from producer to consultant or mentor. Your value is now in how you solved the problem, not just that you solved it. In relationships, this is using your healed wounds to help others navigate their own obstructions. Your triumph is only complete when it is shared. This line embodies the concept of paying it forward. It's the realization that the highest use of your obstruction was the education that it gave you. The I Ching says, you have reached the top of the cycle. Do not look for a new mountain to climb yet. Look back down at the trail. There are people behind you who are lost where you once were. When you reach out and guide them, the universe grants you great good fortune. This is the final southwest move, turning individual victory into a collective liberation. That concludes Hexagram 39. I hope that you liked the video if you found it helpful in understanding this hexagram. Subscribe to follow this series along, and next we'll encounter one of the most auspicious hexagrams in all of the I Ching, Hexagram 40, Deliverance, Release. See you then.